What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, and Joe Shane. Someone call the police. This man just committed a robbery. 100th overall pick. The New York Giants have just traded it for Darren Waller of the Las Vegas Raiders, formerly of the Las Vegas Raiders, now currently of the New York Giants. Oh my goodness, everyone. Give this man, Joe Shane, a round of applause. He is the man. What a deal. The 100th overall pick. Now, if you didn't know, this was the pick that the Giants got in the Kadarius Toney trade. Kadarius Toney traded midseason for the 100th overall pick and a 6th round pick from the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, they just turned that 100th overall pick into Darren freaking Waller. So, you're going from getting a top 100 NFL draft prospect to a top 100 player in the NFL. And oh my God, I love this deal. We've been talking for so long about the New York Giants needing an offensive playmaker, a weapon, someone elite in the receiving game. The Giants just got it. The wide receiver market this season, it wasn't that good. This offseason, there was not a whole lot of talent out there. Tell me, would you rather have an $11 million cap hit this season for Darren Waller, a proven star, or Odell Beckham Jr. coming off of a torn ACL and another torn ACL and haven't played football in over a year? I'm going with Darren Waller. Now, I understand there are some pros, there are some cons to this trade. Darren Waller, some injuries. He's a little bit up there in age, but still, guys, look at the benefits of this. Another pro that I'm going to dive into, the contract. So easy. I mean, that basically makes this a zero-risk, high-reward trade. We're going to go ahead and dive into all of that, talk about the pros, talk about the cons, give you my reaction and my analysis. But before we dive into all of it, make sure to leave a like if you do enjoy this episode and subscribe to the channel if you are new and ring the bell so you don't miss an episode. So let's go ahead without further ado. Darren Waller, if you didn't know, he signed a 3-year, $51 million contract with the Las Vegas Raiders in 2022, just last offseason, okay? There is zero dead cap left on that deal, zero guaranteed money left on the deal in the year of 2024, 2025, and 2026. This year, his cap hit is $11.875 million. After that, you can cut him and incur $0 in penalty over the next 3 years. There is no risk to this trade. Essentially, the Giants are giving up a 3rd-round draft pick. They have 2 of them anyway, so what's the big deal? They're giving up a 100th overall pick in the draft for Darren Waller, who has the potential to be a top 3 tight end in the league. He's only a couple years removed from a Pro Bowl season in which he racked up an insane 1,196 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns for the Raiders in 2020. He is still a great player. Last season, he only played in 9 games, but he had 28 receptions, 388 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The season prior, 11 games, 665 yards on 55 receptions. He's still a great player, guys. He's been a little bit injured lately. He is 30 years old. However, you are talking about getting one of the most dynamic tight ends in the modern game. I mean, this guy can run routes. This is a red zone threat. This is a dirty man over the middle of the field who can pick up chunk plays, and he's also explosive plays. Darren Waller is the complete package from the tight end position, minus maybe run blocking. But hey, guys, Daniel Bellinger is still on this roster, and we know what a great run blocker he is. This doesn't mean that Daniel Bellinger is not going to be playing a lot of snaps for the Giants anymore. Listen, we trust in Brian Dable. We trust in Mike Kafka. They are great at coaching offenses. They know what they're doing, how to utilize skill position players. They'll find a way to get both of these guys on the field and make both of them effective players for the New York Giants. I can promise you that. Daniel Bellinger not going anywhere, but Darren freaking Waller, guys? Who saw this coming? We talked all offseason long about should the Giants trade for a guy like DeAndre Hopkins? Should they sign Odell Beckham Jr., Jacoby Myers, who went to Las Vegas today, actually? There was a lot of names thrown out there. Darren Waller wasn't really one of them. I mean, I read an article a while ago about maybe the Giants should consider doing it, but I didn't think they would. I mean, a tight end, 30 years old, it didn't make sense. But the more you look at it, the more you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Daniel Jones getting an elite tight end, someone who is reliable over the middle of the field, this is huge for him. He's dynamic in the red zone. He's a playmaker after the catch. Like, this is a complete package from the position. He had only 3 drops last season. In that Pro Bowl season that I mentioned, 2020, he had a 2.8% drop rate. He was just spectacular. Again, guys, this is one of the best tight ends in the NFL when he's healthy. And if the Giants can keep him on the field this season, if Darren Waller is healthy for the 2023 season, I mean, they're getting arguably one of the most elite, one of the most explosive offensive weapons in the NFL. Daniel Jones finally has his X factor in the receiving game that he can depend on, throw the ball to 10 plus times per game. This is that level of player, guys, and the Giants haven't had a player like this since OBJ in his prime. So, Darren Waller, I am so thrilled about this. Again, what a trade from Joe Schoen. The 100th overall pick for a player of this caliber is literally just crazy. So going over those cap numbers once again, the cap hit this year 11.8 million, next year 12 million, but again, zero guaranteed money. 13 million in 2025, zero guaranteed money, and 2026 only 15 million with zero guaranteed money. Those are not big numbers, guys. I know it might look like it, but they're really not. You're talking about getting one of the best tight ends in the NFL with zero guaranteed money basically left on his contract. So this year is his prove it year. If he plays well in 2022, you just keep him for all these years. You pay him his money. But let's say he's injured the entire season, doesn't even play. All right, well, all the Giants did was dump off the 100th overall pick. They already had a third-round pick, so they traded one of their two third-round picks for a guy, and they took a chance. And you got to admire the fact that they're taking a risk to try and get a guy who can be one of the best players in the league when he's healthy. If he's not healthy, you can just move on from him next year. No dirt off my shoes, no problem at all. I mean, it's just so low risk, so high reward what you're getting here with Darren Waller. Again, I know $11.8 million, that might sound like a lot. It's not. They can restructure Leonard Williams' contract or extend him and free up more than $11 million right there. And that 12 next year, that's also fair for one of the best tight ends in the NFL. His highest cap hit is in 2026. It's $15 million. And guys, the NFL cap space is projected to grow by like $50 million by that point. That is going to be nothing. It's not a big deal. This is not a big contract that the Giants are inheriting here, but this is a big-time player that they're inheriting. Again, potential is everything, and I can't wait to see this guy in Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll's offense. Look at what they've done with tight ends in the past. I mean, listen, Mike Kafka comes from the Kansas City Chiefs. He understands just how important it is to have an elite tight end in an offense. Travis Kelce over in Kansas City. The Giants just got Kafka, his Travis Kelce, hopefully. Again, I mean, those are lofty expectations, but in 2020, he was in that conversation, Darren Waller. He was in the conversation as a top 3 tight end in the NFL. There was a time where it was Kelce 1, Kittle 2, and of course, Waller 3. So keep that in mind, guys. That's his potential. Again, the route running capabilities from a tight end here. You're looking at his stats over the past few years. He's still a good player, but he's been injured. Now, I will say that is a big, variable here. The Giants have had a lot of injured players lately, right? I mean, you have Sterling Shepard. He was just re-signed, but over the past few years, he's barely played. Saquon Barkley has dealt with a lot of injuries in his career. I mean, the list goes on and on. Wan'Dale Robinson with an injury last year. They've had so many injuries all across their team, especially in their offense in recency. But with Darren Waller, if you can get him healthy, he is better than arguably all of those players. He is such a good player when he's healthy. I mean, he's got run after the catch. Like I said, he can turn a flat route into a 45-yard gain for a touchdown. He can go vertical, push those safeties back, and make a contested catch up the seam. Those are all the things that he can do for you. And when he has the ability to go up the seam like that, push that safety back, that opens things up underneath for guys like Wan'Dale Robinson. Maybe the Giants go ahead and draft a receiver in the first round this year anyway. Listen, the wide receiver free agency market was not all it was cracked up to be. There wasn't a lot of players out there. There were some low-key guys that I really liked, Mecole Hardman, Paris Campbell, and who's to say that the Giants don't go out there and still get some players like this? But the top end of that market, the most expensive player was Jacoby Myers, and he got $11 million per season. So this is very comparable. I would rather pay $11.8 million in 2023 for Darren Waller than I would $11 million for Jacoby Myers in 2023. That's just my opinion. I think he's a much better player. I know it's two different positions. One's a receiver, one's a tight end. But when you're talking about such a dynamic playmaker like Darren Waller, I mean, he's basically a receiver in your offense if you need him to be. He is a phenomenal player. Listen, guys, there's just no risk to this trade. That's my main selling point here. If you told me, the Giants gave up a second-round pick for Darren Waller, I might have been like, I don't know about that. It's a third-round pick. It's the 100th overall pick, the second of our 2 third-round picks. And there's zero guaranteed money left on the contract after the season. Now, of course, this contract could be restructured. They could give him some guaranteed money down the road, and that would lower his cap hit in 2023. They could get that 11.8 to be even lower if they need to, but they probably won't want to because giving him that guaranteed money now and having the opportunity to get out of the deal next season, well, it does a couple things for them, and I'll break it down. Right now, the Giants still have a few contracts to restructure. They haven't even cut Kenny Golladay yet. Once they do that, there's another $7 million that they could spend and just allocate towards Darren Waller. Second of all, they can go ahead and restructure or extend Saquon Barkley. Extending Saquon Barkley will free them probably $5 to $6 million. So there you go. There's Darren Waller totally under the cap. But let's take it a step further. Adoree Jackson gets extended. They free up probably, I want to say the number was around $8 million. Okay. And then you go ahead and you extend Leonard Williams. And I think that number was like $12 million if you extend him. So there's a lot of room to work here. You could cut a guy like Darnay Holmes. There's $2.75 million netted back in your pocket. You cut a guy like Shane Lemieux. There's another million in your pocket. The Giants just made a great move here to get a player, and this is not going to financially cash strap them for the 2023 season. Not at all. They're still going to have cap space going into the draft. They're going to be A-okay. And the reason why they won't restructure this deal and kick any of this guaranteed money down the road is because they actually don't need to. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will because they want to be aggressive and go find another player to add to the team for the 2023 season. It's totally possible they go ahead and do that. But listen, guys, adding this three-headed monster to the offensive. You got Saquon Barkley in the backfield. You got Daniel Jones at quarterback. And now you have a true receiving weapon in Darren Waller. This is what we've been dreaming of. Let's all be happy about this. I need to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm sure all of you are super hyped and excited just like I am. Let me know your thoughts down below. And please make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this episode. Subscribe to Fireside Giants, the channel, if you are new. And ring the bell so you don't miss an episode. I will catch you all in the next one. Have a good one. And let's go Giants.